right, here we are, y'all, back for another episode of the Hidden Threads podcast. Guess who's with me?
The one, the only, Victoria.
Victoria. That goes by Tori.
Yes.
And Victoria. I call her Vicky just to make her mad.
Oh, yeah.
It really makes you angry,
Just
doesn't it?
makes me, boils my blood.
It does not.
No,
it doesn't. Vicky makes her sound old, though.
It's my grandma's name.
Okay.
It just makes me think of grandma.
Mama.
Mama.
Victoria does that kind of. You go to bed early and all this stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't make it past 9 o'clock.
You don't do much. But the old lady in the, 26?
25.
25-year-old body.
25.
So anyway. All right. So today we got a good topic. We haven't done one on this yet. It's about missing persons, missing people, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
All right. And we haven't had one of these in a while.
No.
But we've had some great success with these in the past. And we're going to get into some of these today. What do you know about missing persons, Victoria?
I know there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, I know that there's then compared to an adultery case, there's a lot more physical involvement.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the first one we had. It's a girl, she's about 15, and she decided that she did not want to, her parents did not like her activity online. So they took her phone from her. All right. And so she got mad and ran away. All right. She ran away from home, and they looked around for a few days, couldn't find her. And they said, oh, she'll come back, but she never did.
Mm-hmm.
Reported it to police. Police, they did their thing. And so this young girl was adopted as a baby.
Okay.
Right? And she had some issues. I got into her online activity, and she was doing things on there that was not good for a 15-year-old to be doing.
Yeah.
Talking about drugs, provocative stuff that she shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And their parents are like, hey, they had enough of it. And they said, look, you're going to act right while you're living here. You have a problem with that?
No.
You don't? Right.
No, not at all.
When she ran off, she was last seen in a neighborhood that was known for drug dealing. Okay. She had a buddy that she kind of hung around with. In the gas station right there next to it, the guy's like, yeah, she was here a few days ago hanging out back on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I went to that neighborhood and hung out and started knocking on the doors. Nobody would talk to me. All right. Do I look like a cop, Victoria?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I need to talk to you. Nobody would come to the door. So I just parked in the middle of the parking lot and got out and leaned up against my hood and started messing with my phone. Sat there for about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, a guy came up and said, hey, man, what do you need? We are losing business because you're here.
Wow.
I was in my little sedan I used to have, and I looked like a cop.
Yeah.
So everybody thought I was a cop there.
Yeah.
So all the drug game had closed up.
Right.
And I said, I need to know where this girl is and who she talked to last. And he proceeded to tell me.
Wow.
And said a certain car picked her up at a certain time, described the car in detail to me, and described the woman that picked her up. All right. So I talked to her adopted parents. I said, who's this woman? They said, that's her birth mother.
Oh.
So I got an address on her, went to that house. It was a trailer, actually.
Yeah.
Birth mother's home. She answered the door with her new husband. And they said, we don't know where she is. We haven't seen her. The car that the guy in the hood, he told me, he said, this fits her perfectly. So I went there. The car was there. I did act like I was just playing. I said, hey, we're just checking to try to find her. They said, you want to look around in the home? I said, yeah, I'll look around in the home.
Yeah.
And she wasn't there. Now there was a shed out back. And I said, can I go out there? And he said, it's locked. I can't find the key and all this. And he's like, okay. All right. So next door was an abandoned trailer. It was empty. So I got on the phone and figured out who owned it. And I said, hey, can I hang out in this trailer? I told him exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
The landowner. And he said, yeah, you can use it. Here's how you get in. And so I sat there for hours and watched. And I finally saw her walking back and forth, the girl we're looking for, from the shed out back to the trailer. All right. Called the sheriff's department, and they came and picked her up. And while they were there, they found some methamphetamines in the home in plain sight. So they arrested the people in the home too. So
oh my word.
that young girl got returned to her adoptive parents, and they got her put into a program. I think it was a year-long intensive program. And last I heard, I talked to them a few months ago, she's doing well. She's graduating high school soon. So I think she's doing well.
Could have went a whole different direction though.
She could have been dead.
Right.
We have, I've had some experts say I'm crazy with this term we call micro trafficking. Mm-hmm. You ever heard of that?
I've heard of trafficking. I don't know if I've heard of micro trafficking.
So trafficking is like a large scale. So we get a bunch of people, say we get a bunch of young girls coming in from Russia. We promise them citizenship if they work for us, and we bring them in, take their passports, and we say, hey, you got to work in the sex trade We're going to be your pimp for 2 years. And then we're going to give you your passport back. No citizenship, nothing. You're just basically their pimp.
Right.
And then that's large scale type stuff. That's how the gangs make money, different things like that. Micro trafficking is where you get a young girl like this and some local guys get them hooked on drugs. Or they say, hey, we give a promise of drugs. Hey, we'll give you some drugs, take them to parties. And they say, hey, have sex with these guys and they'll give us drugs. And it turns into a vicious cycle, I guess.
I only ever thought about it large scale. I never thought about it like that.
And then they get them hooked on drugs. They basically use them up and then the girl overdoses or they just toss them out and they're hooked on drugs now.
Oh, my God.
So we call it micro trafficking. Some people don't, but I like that term. So
yeah, that makes
local
sense.
trafficking, you might call it. But these can often turn into that, So I'm glad it didn't. What are we looking at on time here, Victoria?
Are we doing good?
Oh, we're looking good. So we can go to the next one. Another one. This one was a girl. It didn't have a big drug thing with it. Had to do with a boy. All right. So this girl, she was 17, still living with her parents, and her parents did not approve of her 20-year-old boyfriend. Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't in my house.
I wouldn't either. I really wouldn't.
Hey, we're going to worry about school and that stuff, and we're not going to worry about older men.
For real. Yeah.
So she said, okay. She had a secret phone she had stashed and would text them and stuff, and they found it, and they grounded her, said, hey, look, you're not doing anything until this is over. So then she left. She ran off, right? And they couldn't find her, and they hired me. I got on her phone and was able to get in her Snapchat, and I pretended like I was her. And I said, hey, me and guy's name are looking for a place to stay. Where can we go? I just started throwing out some random stuff, right? Try to get a bite on. And they said, hey, last time I saw you were over at such and such's house.
Gotcha.
So I went over there and there she was, right, at that place.
Wow.
It was just a shot in the dark, basically. As I said, I told them I'm going to start chatting on here with these people, her connections, and see what comes up. And we found it pretty quick. But then we brought her back. Her dad came and got her, brought her back. And then a few weeks later, I get a call again. Hey, she's ran off again. This time.
Young love, dumb stuff. Oh, my gosh.
This time I put pressure on the boy. I went to his house. He said, I haven't seen her. And kept going back to his house. He says, I haven't seen her. And got to talk to the police department. He had a warrant out for a drug charge. So I got a copy of that, took it to him. I said, hey, I can either tell them where you are right now, or you can tell me where this girl is. He immediately told me where she was. All right.
Yeah.
And he said, you're not going to tell the police, are you? I said, no. I immediately told him where he was because I don't like the guy.
Yeah.
Doing this. He shouldn't be hanging out with these young girls anyway.
No,
I know he's 20. It's not a big age difference, but he shouldn't be doing this and worrying parents and all that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
If the dad had told him, hey, I want you to stay away, and he wouldn't stay away. So that's a problem.
I don't think that, the age gap's not weird when you're older, but when you're like in high school and someone's in college, I honestly think you shouldn't be rocking like that.
Yeah, you should be worried about getting out of high school first and hanging out with people your own age.
Yes.
But anyway, this kid, he went to jail and I think he got a year.
Nice.
He wouldn't turn himself, he made it hard on the police to get him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, she got put in a program. I haven't heard any updates on that one, but we're going to come back and talk about one of the more difficult ones, two little boys. All right, we'll get with that. But yeah, we're going to take a break and we'll be back with more.
Deep breaths, heavy stuff.
Hey, I get a lot of calls from people that say, hey, I looked on Been Verified, Scope Now, Truth Finder, White Pages, all these different sites saying, hey, I found some information on a person, but when I followed up on it, it wasn't accurate. That's because those cheap and free services give you old information. That's the bottom line. We have a service where we give you the same information, but it's real time. You get bankruptcies, divorces, criminal record, if they're a sexual predator, where they live now, current phone numbers, email addresses, usernames, all these things you get in real time. We get this information by using a TLO database that's only available to private investigators, law enforcement, and federal agencies. So if you want real data now and talk to a real investigator now to get information that you need to move forward with your life, please give us a call, 866-910-7499, or you can click the link and fill out your information. That's 866-910-7499, or click the link and fill out your information. We want to help you with real-time data to help you move forward with your life. Make sure my sound's right, Victoria. Yes, it is. We're back, y'all, for part 2. you may be saying, hey, why don't you check your sound before you start recording?
Don't tell us what to do.
That's not how I roll, y'all. But yeah. We get to talking in the little breaks here, and I forget, and I have to make sure I get the right buttons pressed. But anyways, back
ADHD.
ADHD. Okay. Yep. The back to missing persons. So this next case is one where two little boys, a 5 and a 2-year-old. All right. Oh. Their mom and dad were divorced. The mother was on drugs and had zero custody of these kids. Wasn't even allowed to see them.
Gotcha.
So the dad, his mother lived with him and helped him with the kids. She was 60 something, but she was healthy enough to help out and all that. So the dad built houses for a living. That's what he did. He was a busy guy. And the mother, his mother, the one helping him take care of the kids, stepped out back for a little while in the backyard while the boys were in the house. No big deal. She didn't leave and go shopping or anything. Came back in and they were gone that fast.
Oh my gosh.
Right? What do you think is so far?
It's just, I can only imagine as a mom, like just walking out for a couple seconds, coming back, they're gone. That would just send me into a straight downward spiral.
So they called the cops immediately and it turned into a big deal.
Yeah.
This is pretty close by the way. It was on the news, but the cops, had no leads. They immediately thought that the mother was involved somehow, but they couldn't find her. No idea where she was. All right. So it was probably 3 weeks after this happened that I get called, way after the fact. All right. And we get started on this and I immediately say, hey, we're going to find the mother. Right. So we get in looking for her and find her in Tullahoma, Tennessee. The cops go there. No luck. And then a few days go by, I find her in St. Louis, Missouri. Cops go there, no luck. All right. And then we get another hit that she's in Oregon. All right. Cops go there. Now, they did get a little luck there. The neighbor said, yeah, they just left this morning. Like they packed their little car.
Wow.
It seemed like she was renting houses or something and then had some kind of scam going where she was renting homes and then just leaving without paying or something. They get a few nights there and then leave.
All right. How are you tracking her?
We're using TLO. So we talked about TLO a bunch. And anytime you register utilities, it hits on TLO. If you use your name, date of birth, social, it hits on there. Email address, it hits on there. So that's how we were tracking her. So every morning we would get in twice a day, I'd run her through TLO and a new address would pop.
Gotcha.
That fast.
Wow.
So, and, but anyway, so, they had no idea where she went, right? Out in Oregon. So that hits in, a place in California near San Francisco. I like the name Francisco.
Francisco.
Off of Elf.
Oh, I haven't seen Elf in so long.
Anyways, the hits at a place and it was a homeless shelter. She had registered something at the homeless shelter and that address hit. So I got a PI I know out in California. He went there looking and said, hey, talked to them, say, hey, we're looking for this. She has 2 little boys. And she said, yeah, she came here with a man, with the 2 boys were with her, and they caused some trouble, so we had to tell them to leave. You might want to check the homeless encampment. They have gigantic ones out there, right, in San Francisco. So he goes there, and sure enough, they were there. So he gets the police. They come over and get them picked up, and they get returned. My client flies out and gets the boys and comes back.
Jeez, man.
But that was a scary thing. So,
with like Skid Row type environment? Oh my God.
They had a tent. They pulled them out of a tent. So, in a homeless encampment.
Traumatized the living crap out of those kids.
Shaved their heads. Crazy. They look weird, man. They shaved their heads. But anyways, those boys are doing good. I got a picture of them before Christmas. They were out jumping on the trampoline at Dad's house. So he keeps an eye on them now. So
yeah. That's just, God, I just feel for them. What kind of person, what mother, like what is in your thought process to rip these kids out of a good home and take them to a freaking Skid Row and think you're doing good for yourself?
Right. I don't know. But she got put in jail. The boyfriend she was with got put in jail for kidnapping and plus drug charges. She had some previous drug charges they got her picked up for. I don't know. I haven't looked at her in a while to see what she's doing. But she lost her mind and thinking this was good, and you're taking these little boys to a home. You have no idea who's in there. There could be sexual assault going on with little kids. It's just not an environment. You take them from a nice home and put them in that situation. Run across the United States in a car with all their stuff packed in there. The client said they looked like they had lost weight. They weren't eating right. All these things. This is about a total about a 5-week ordeal. So,
then they probably did lose a good bit of weight and stuff. Yeah.
Right. You may be saying, why did the police not find them? Well, it's difficult. And the FBI actually started looking for them, but we do not have bureaucracy here. We just log in and look for them, where it doesn't have to go through. It doesn't get rated. This case is more important in this case and all these things where resources get applied. We apply all of our resources to finding them. It's not there's no bureaucracy to say it's just some redneck guy in Alabama looking for his kids. We don't have time for that. So
here's a question, because I watch all these shows and you always hear, if you don't find the person within 24 hours, the chances of finding them is cut this much %. What do you think about that?
That's a good statement for a show. I'd say the closer you get to what we call the X, the abduction point in time, the abduction place in time, the more likely it is to find them. I wouldn't put a time on it, like 24 hours.
Yeah.
But the further they get away from time and distance, it's harder to find them. Right. So you're likely to more have witnesses at what we call the X, where they were taken from, and the more people may have seen what happened.
That does make sense.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Right. Yeah.
The FBI tries to say 24 hours, but I just say the closer to time and distance and space to the X, the closer we are, the more likely it is to find them.
Yeah,
so
I got you.
We usually get them though way after that.
That's why I'm like the 3 weeks later. It's like, dang, yeah.
Even the missing teens we found earlier, we were about 5 days behind the cops.
Wow.
But anyways, now on the missing girls we found, like if you have a runaway teen or whatever, the first thing we do is we go to where most of the time they hang out. That's typically their bedroom.
Yes.
We go in there and we start looking through their little trash cans. We look around for notes or any kind of scribbles that they may have indicated where they might be going. And if we can get that phone, we'll typically find them. If they leave their phone behind, a lot of times parents are taking their phones from them.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I've had teen girls. You take that phone away, it's like you destroyed their life.
For sure. That's a life source.
Yeah. Take the phone away first and then the car, and they just lose it. They go catatonic.
Yes.
They just rock back and forth. That's kind of how we had it. Happened in our home. But yeah, we start there and then we work our way out. So, but if we can get on Snapchat as them and all that, we can typically find them.
Yeah.
Or get clues to where to go look. So it's we start there and we work our way out. And runaway teens in today's world, where they are connected worldwide, as a big thing. We've got one, they haven't hired us yet, but the kid met some people through gaming.
Yes.
And these parents of this guy, his kid's 17, he said, hey, when I graduate high school, I'm going to move to California. These people I've only met through a gaming application.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
That one is absolutely insane. I've talked to her before, and it's just like, they are going to provide everything for him. They're going to pay for him, take him wherever he needs. What random people would really do that? It's just weird.
It is. And you met him through Xbox or PlayStation or whatever.
Yeah.
And this kid, they've convinced him. I mean, it could be for pedophilia. It could be micro trafficking we talked about earlier. It could be a variety. It could be just as harmless as could be.
Right.
But who knows? I'd want to know more about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. The kids are connected now at their fingertips, and all they have to do is make connections online.
Scary.
Now, those are some bigger ones we've done. Daily, we do comprehensive searches for people through TLO, where they're just wanting to serve them documents or get something sent to them legally, and they have no idea what the address is, and we find it for them, and we send it over.
I did one of those TLO background checks for this woman who her and her husband were gamers, and they were trying to reconnect with this old friend they used to game with. He's like 65, just an old man that played video games, but they hadn't heard from him in like 4 months. So just searched him on TLO, got his email and phone number, and she was able to call him, and now they're back playing games together.
Okay. Just a reconnection.
Yeah.
We had one where a guy, I never left my computer on this one, but he had met a girl in high school, and then he went to Vietnam. And then they didn't after his year in Vietnam, he went on with his life and got married and had children.
Yeah.
And he wanted to reconnect with her.
That's so cool.
Not for her.
Oh, he's still married.
We thought, no, his wife has died.
Oh, okay.
I thought to her, he said, hey, make contact with her and see if she'd be up for it. She was not happy with him still. at age 70 something.
Oh.
She's like, he just left me. I told him I would wait for him. He never contacted me. He can. She was not happy.
Kick bricks, basically.
Yeah, kick bricks.
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing. You give him a choice and
yeah.
you say, hey.
Yeah, she was not. I was like, this is going to be like a made for TV moment, like Lifetime TV. And it was not.
That's funny. It's not, but it is.
It was more like MTV. So.
Oh man, that poor guy. Oh man.
He was sad about it.
I bet.
She said, tell him not to ever contact me, all this. And he said, I'm going to talk to her. And I said, she said not to. Yeah. So I'm not giving you I didn't give you the information.
Yeah.
He was mad about it. But I'm like, she said no. I'm not going to put her in harm's way.
Stalking situation or something, yeah.
Yeah, so that one was interesting. It's funny but sad.
It is sad.
But anyway, all right. That kind of covered our missing persons.
Yes.
Right? Did you like that one?
Yes, that's a good one. There's so much we can do with that. TLO XP is the stuff.
It's the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It is. But we're going to get out of here. We'll be back. We're going to get into some death row in our next episode, and also a little bit of dark web.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum. It's not as scary as people think, but we're going to get into it. Talk to you soon.
Bye.